Welcome to another edition of the How Dead Sports Podcast. This is your fantastic host, Paul. And hey, we got Austin again. How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Good, 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 good.
There we go.
It's been a interesting couple of days in the world of sports and entertainment. Would you say that?
Very much so. It's been actually, I would say, one of the crazier couple of days in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Before we get into the Elimination Chamber review, we have to address some breaking news in terms of the Chicago Bears. Um, Drew Dalman, the Bears Pro Bowl center, who they signed to a 3-year deal last offseason, retired at the age of 27. It just came out of nowhere. Um, I was doing some work. I was looking at my phone, and all of a sudden I see an Adam Schefter tweet, and I'm like, okay, let me read this. And I was like, oh, okay. Um, it already clouds an offensive line that has some questions in terms of who's going to play left tackle. Now you got to find yourself a center and allocate resources that you know you whether it's money or draft picks to find a center. Probably earlier than what the Bears anticipated. Your thoughts?
I mean, like you said, it kind of just blew your mind. There's something about these Stanford guys just wanting to retire early. You know, got him. Uh, what Andrew Luck retired at 28. I think Dolman's what 27.
27, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, talking about a guy um that turned away some decent money because according to reports, um, he didn't necessarily want to go down a road that his father made in terms of like he saw how his father just broke down, especially at life after football. And so, um, I totally understand it, especially playing that position, being a center, and you're constantly getting hit. Um, yeah, I get it. It sucks for the Bears, sucks for our favorite team because, you know, we thought that, we had four-fifths of our offensive line set. Now we have to, like I said, go out and spend money. Luckily, the Bears saved roughly about $10 million off of his salary that they can go and do something with that, or you spend, draft capital on a center that you need. And like I said earlier, um, probably a year or two earlier than what you really wanted, because like I said, he was only on a 3-year contract anyway.
and and when you sit there and think about it, like I got two real specific things about this. One, I don't think they're going to go through the draft to find a center. This is actually a really strong center free agency class. I don't think we're going to go get like the bell of the ball and like Tyler Lindenbaum from
Well, he he he
Baltimore.
wa- he wants 22 to 25 million dollars a year.
He's earned it.
Yeah, but the Bears are not paying that.
No, I don't think they're going to go shell out for like him. But there are still some relatively good like secondary, I wouldn't say elite centers, but I would say like secondary tier centers that are out there that can be used to, we can use through free agency. And I have said this on the show basically since we started. This is the one point that I want to make. I have said it time and time again. I thought for sure the Chicago Bears were going to get Max Crosby. I think this kind of kills that dream in a way. I don't think
Um,
I don't think they'd be willing to give up any assets to go and get someone like Max Crosby now with them having to replace a pivotal piece they thought was going to be a part of, you know, like you said, at least the next one, two, I was thinking, 2, 3, 4 years.
yeah, so my assumption is that, they knew this was coming just for the simple fact that they actually had a center in town today. Tyler, I'm gonna butcher his last name, Biadaszz. I played for the Commanders, a decent player. Um, Went to Wisconsin, um, but all of a sudden when the announcement happened, we got word that um, the center that used to play for the Commanders um, was in town for a visit. So my guess is that the Bears coming, so that's why they made plans for it. So maybe the Bears will have a new center by the end of the week.
I mean, there's a good possibility by that. Well, what free agency starts the 12th?
Starts next. Well, the legal tampering period starts, I think, the 11th.
Oh, it was the 11th.
Yeah, I think the legal tampering period starts yeah, it's typically the Wednesday, and then the regular free agency I think starts that Friday.
Yeah, I knew it was something like that. I just couldn't remember exactly what the day was. But I mean, that it really sucks for me because I thought I still think because like all the betting odds, like because you can bet on like DraftKings on where players are going to end up. It
Hmm.
was just this morning that the Chicago Bears jumped up to the betting favorite to land Max Crosby.
Yeah, yeah. His name is Tyler Biadish. So shout out to Wikipedia for the phonetic spelling.
All right.
Yeah, he a 6'3", 314 pound center drafted by the Cowboys, signed a 3-year, $30 million deal with the Commanders, and then in free agency, um, 24. So, you know, is he all world? No, but right now I think you're just looking for someone who um, be solid. It just sucks that especially with Caleb Williams, that he has to have another person that has to basically call protections for him unless he could do it himself. So, we just have to see where this goes. So hopefully within the next couple of days, the Bears will have a new center and they can kind of go from there.
And I think with like play calling and calling out mics and different checks at the line, I think that's going to end up just being instead of being the center's job like it typically is. I think that is going to be essentially given to Joe Tooney just because of how good he is and how smart of a football player he is. But like you said, it does suck because this will be Caleb's third year in the league and he's working on his third starting center.
Yeah, yeah. It's not
That,
it's not exactly ideal for a team that's looking for Super Bowl aspirations, especially um, with how they finish. And I honestly just call it, I figured there was going to be some attrition to this offensive line, considering the fact that, you're talking about, Drew Dalman was the only player on that offensive line to play every snap, and typically offensive linemen get hurt. So, it's we just have to see where it goes. Ryan Poles over the past year and some change has earned the benefit of the doubt. So we'll see where it goes. So hopefully, like I said, they'll be able to sign a center and create some cap space to fill more holes because I'm assuming that this is one that they didn't necessarily see, want.
I think it was something that they didn't necessarily expect until say maybe a week or so. I'm not going to speculate on the time period with that, but it's something that just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But but in all seriousness, no, good for him. Good luck on him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's speculation out there on why, and what you honestly hope with any football player is that that their mental was okay. Especially when you have CTE and stuff like that, and you want to make sure that um, you know you leave the game, you know, somewhat healthy.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, especially by him being 27 years old. We talked earlier about him being from Stanford, so he has that degree, and so he'll be good to go. He'll be all right.
And yeah, and best wishes to him.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah. So as we move forward, the WWE held their Elimination Chamber this past Saturday in good old Chicago. I actually forgot that it was going to be at the United Center. I truly did. Um I'm watching it, and then I'm like, that's the United Center, and they haven't been there since SummerSlam of '94. Is
I
that right?
believe so. I would have to take a look back at it and double check that, but it's been a very long time because of that contract with Allstate.
Yeah, yeah. And then it was a good visual. Loved it. I'm hoping that they do more there. It's- I know the Allstate Arena has been like their home for, oh my God, for 30, 40 years, like forever. So I hope that they'll be able to go there um for PLEs or anything like that. Hell, maybe you can get a Monday Night Raw there, you know. But um I do have to say this, and this is part of my mini rant. So when you and I talked on Friday, I actually decided that I was going to wait to watch the actual show because I wanted to calm my my wrestling nerves in terms of how I was feeling. Again, we talked previous show about how I felt like the lack of build for WrestleMania was not, wasn't there, but I felt like the WWE had to basically hit a home run, or at least close to a home run with this show. So I allowed myself to not watch the show until, let's say, I watched it Sunday. And one of the things that I tried to do was, like, no preconceived notions. I actually turned off all of the all of like my apps that would give me updates, things like that. And one of the things that I started to do and when I started watching was, especially when Danhausen came out, and shout out to you for that heads up, was the fact that, and I'm going to lump myself into this. We as wrestling fans have to do a better job of our expectations. Um, the WWE put out this crate, and then, like I said, I'm guilty of it. We're sitting up here saying, "Oh, it's going to be Jericho. Oh, it's going to be Brock. It's going to be Obafemi coming out. All this other stuff." When in actual reality, the crate represented something funny, and which was Danhausen. And then he comes out, and then all of a sudden, barely any response. He gets booed because fans had this expectation that it was going to be something greater, when all it was just, you know, somebody who's really good at a gimmick. And if you're not a person who watches anything outside of the WWE bubble, you're not going to get them. You're not going to get his shtick. You're just not.
But I will say, give it time.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I I
People are gonna
actually
love him.
I actually enjoyed his interaction with Pierce last night.
Yeah.
Absolutely enjoyed it. I understand what he is. He's art. I'm looking forward to many backstage segments between him and R-Truth.
It's gonna be hysterical.
Yes, I can actually see at some point Truth dressing up as Danhausen. That that's going to be comedic gold. But my point is that sometimes we as wrestling fans set ourselves up for failure way too much instead of just enjoying the show. That that's that's kind of why I said I wanted to take a step back and enjoy and not come in with any preconceived notions of what this should be.
I mean, that's probably the right way to do it. I mean, I just had a feeling like at the end I was like, he's he's out of a job. There's been the speculation, we found out Jericho isn't out of his contract until April. It we knew, or at least I had the feeling that it had to have been Danhausen. Now, I I think I think this also goes a little bit towards the booking itself because they made a big spec they made sort of a spectacle out of the box itself in the weeks leading up to it in a way where it was just constantly there. It was constantly showing up. They made it seem like it was supposed to be like a real big deal. I think had they shifted how they approached it, they could have made it be a lot better. But
But that focus of that box was all comedians, all, like
when
all like when you have Johnny Gargano planking on top of the crate, then then it what he, at that point it's a I'm not gonna call it a joke. It's a joke in a good way, not a joke of in a horrible way. But for me, like I said, it just came down to I know who he is. I like him. It was just kind of like, okay, this is I get it. It's funny, you know, because you and I talked about this. He's the E in World Wrestling Entertainment. That and we have to look at the WWE as a variety company. You're gonna get some wrestling, you're gonna get some sports entertainment. It's a variety show. So you should be able to get something out of it.
and and if you sit back and really think about, like, this is what I did afterwards because I saw and heard the reception. I wasn't a huge fan of the reception. I love Chicago wrestling crowds. I think at that specific point they kind of messed up. But um
Well, they hyped themselves up for something that they hyped themselves up for Jericho. They hyped themselves up for some big star to come in. Jericho's not coming out of a box.
no, not the Jericho that he is today. Um
Brock isn't coming out of a box.
no, not unless he hulks out of it, but
Right.
that would
And
be
and
hysterical too.
and then don't you think that, you know, if if it had anything to do with the men's chamber match, that it would have been done like at the end of the chamber, or or somebody was going to get taken out, you know.
Yeah. And you should have already thought that wasn't going to happen with how they did SmackDown on Friday, with
Yeah,
having the opening of Jey Uso getting taken out, which confirms the theory that Jey was not supposed to be in it to begin with. I
yeah,
think it was supposed to be Bronson Reed, but then he tore his bicep.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but there is something actually really hysterical when you sit down and think about like Danhausen's debut. So in kayfabe, which isn't necessarily much of a real thing anymore, but if we sit back and think about it how we should, in kayfabe, Danhausen has been sitting in this box and going around from town to town and just chilling for like a month.
Oh, not just him.
Oh, him and all of the dancers or
Yeah,
whatever they called them.
yeah,
But again, just hysterical if you sit
yeah,
down and think about it. They were just okay chilling in a box.
yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think at least for Monday Night Raw, it got its design effect. It was, I mean, he got a great reception yesterday. Great reception yesterday. And then the favorite part was outside of him cursing Dom, but Number one, not knowing who JD McDonough was, and then number two, basically, telling Adam Pearce because of his glasses, that's his disguise for him really being Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I mean, yes, he is going to be absolutely hysterical. It's
Yeah.
going to it's going to be it's going to be great. And something actually really cool I learned over the weekend too, because I didn't watch his interview with Chris Van Fleet. I found out that he was the first wrestler to copyright his face makeup.
Hmm. Okay.
He did it before Sting did.
Hmm.
So he was the very first wrestler to actually copyright like his actual makeup.
Right. And I think another thing that fans got to realize too, and I used to have conversations with buddies of mine because they hate when I use this term, this phrase. Danhausen is what's best for business in terms of how much merch he pushes. Uh,
He's going to sell.
his doll is going to sell. His T-shirts are going to sell.
They're probably going to make some sort of mask.
Yes, Halloween time. Yes, I,
It's
I
going to sell.
I'm pretty sure when we get towards Halloween Havoc for NXT, he is going to be the host of that.
Oh my God, that's going to be hysterical.
And he doesn't have to be branded on a show. You can use him at Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Have him go all three.
And then that's what he should do. He should just be popping up at random places.
Yes, yes. That's you know that's what you could do with him. And at the end of the day, you know he's going to be fine. They're going to make tons of money off of him. He's going to wrestle a few times. He's going to get thrown around. But I'm curious to see who else he puts a curse on.
And for those that have not, those that don't know him a lot or haven't seen him, the guy can go in the ring too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's not just a comedic wrestler for comedic wrestler's sake. He's an actual wrestler. The guy can go in the ring.
Right, right.
It's I thought it was a so-so debut, but it's going to end up being a great thing in the long haul.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. All right. So as we move on to um, Chamber itself, I actually thought and I've gotten mixed opinions on this from people who I talked to. They didn't like the Chamber. I absolutely thought it was a really good show.
Me personally, I thought it was good, but I have a problem with modern pay-per-views nowadays.
Oh,
It's
are you referencing the fact that there was only four matches on the show?
it's every single one. It's every single time.
Yeah, that's a big Triple H thing. I think um, he's always, you know, he's all about quality, not quantity. How Vince used to put seven or eight. Because I actually went back and looked at the first Elimination Chamber, and there was like seven or eight matches on that. And now you're talking about, you know, three or four matches. But if you're going to do that, just make sure those four matches are of significance, and that's what they
So,
were.
and I also probably picked the wrong pay-per-view to voice that opinion because when you look at a chamber match, you're getting what 45 minutes out of each match.
Yeah, and so it's actually quite funny, and we'll talk. And um, we're kind of going to be, bouncing around here, but one of the things that I know that people had issues with was the entrance times for particularly for the men's chamber. Um, somebody said in a group chat that it felt like the entrances were about 45 minutes, where there actually was like 18:45.
Okay.
Because after I saw that, I decided that I was going to record from the very first one until Javon Evans was the last one that came in. Randy Orton and Javon Evans were the two longest ones, by the way. Um, they had an issue in terms of them walking down the aisle, going around the different pods. Um, my thing with that is that when you do a match like the Elimination Chamber, you need your talent to sell the match, right? So Randy Orton is going to be a person that's going to walk down the aisle methodically because that's what he does. I also believe, as I backtrack, that you're not going to have a person's going to walk out to the beat of their theme song. You know,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Randy Orton. Randy Orton's music is methodical. He's going to walk methodical. And plus the fact that I think about Trick Williams, because I think he was the first one that came out.
He
And
was.
and his song has his theme music has a, a different beat to it. He's not going to run down to the ring. He's gonna he's gonna he's gonna salter down to the ring. He's gonna
Yeah.
go he's gonna go with it uh with his name song beat. Plus the fact that you don't run and lemon pepper steppers. You
I'll
don't.
take your I'll take your word for it on that one. Can't say I've rocked a pair of those before.
You don't. You don't.
Uh, um, so like when it comes to the entrances, you're right. It all goes to the beat of you have to match your walk, your saunter, your run, your jog, whatever to the beat of your song. When you think of some of the most like iconic entrances, it's all in unison. When Ultimate Warrior came out to his music, what
Yeah,
was it? It was super fast, super
yeah.
hard, and he sprinted to the ring.
The only time I've ever seen the Ultimate Warrior walk to the ring with his song with theme music was WrestleMania 7 when he wrestled Savage. The only
Oh
time.
yeah.
The only time.
And then, you're not going to get your John Cena's anymore much. That again, sprint down to the ring.
Right.
Those guys don't exist anymore.
Right. I
You
mean,
know,
hell, Rock takes Rock takes 2 days to walk to the ring now.
when you want to talk about a longest entrances, all you have to do is think of the dead man.
Yeah.
Think about how many matches that he has had at WrestleMania that were shorter than his entrance.
Right.
There's quite a bit if you think about it.
Yeah.
But that's all fine and dandy. The only one that the only thing that I would like disagree with you on or agree with you, whatever. The only thing that I would say is I don't think everyone needs to have a face to face with every single one in the pod.
No, I can understand. See, I agree with that. My thing is you can sell like you can walk to the to the chamber and just kind of look at the actual chamber itself. You like sell it. I mean, because
Especially for guys like Trick and Javon,
LA Knight,
LA
uh, I
Knight,
I think that's his
those who
very first
haven't been
one.
in it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. You know, Randy's selling them because that's his 10th one.
crazy.
So so each one of those means a little bit more to him. So I mean, and so the entrances themselves. By the way, the women's was I think 13 minutes. I actually took a screenshot of it. I think it was like 13 minutes for the women's because I was curious. Like I said, I was just curious on that. And then 13 minutes and 1 second.
And then just for sake of conversation for myself, which is actually really surprising because of the ending, I actually found myself more entertained with the women's chamber than with the men's.
And honestly, I understand that. I I, I actually great transition. As far as the women's chamber is concerned, I could definitely see that in terms of because all six ladies showed something. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I was disappointed at the fact that Raquel Rodriguez didn't win because that
But
was
she
my pick.
did.
But at the end of the day, she was the one that probably had the most gained the most out of that.
She lost, but she won in the end.
Yeah.
And
Like
it's exactly what we talked about last week. She may not win,
but she
but she'll get over.
yep.
And I
Rhea
think she definitely got over.
yep. Rhea went over, but Raquel got over. As far as like the Rhea Ripley winning it, at the end of the day, once again, this is a business, and this is your number one pay-per-view of the year. Rhea Ripley is the most popular female star on your roster, superstar on your roster, and probably the third or most popular person on the entire WWE. So I understand why she's in a main event match or a world title match at WrestleMania. It makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. I'm not mad at it. Not mad at it at all. Because at the end of the day, Rhea Ripley it is what's best for business in terms of
And and again, it's just that striking visual when Jade and Rhea go face to face. It'll have that juice.
yeah, and we actually will get into a little bit more of that maybe towards the end of the show because I have a question that I need to pose to you towards the end of this. Um, Anything else stand out within the women's match?
Mm, no, I said my piece. I mean, like I said, Raquel looked like an absolute beast. She got over incredible. And I do think with her performance, it will still lead to a little bit of tension between her and Liv, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I thought Kiana James looked great. Tiffany Stratton looked really good. Alexa Bliss, oh my God, Alexa Bliss. Um, you know, she did her thing. Same with Asuka. Like I said, all six ladies definitely did something that was worthwhile within the chamber. So kudos to them. The second match was AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch. I have to say that this was a really good match, but the star of the match for me was Jessica Carr.
The R Lynch beef continues.
Yeah, and to a point where I was jotting some notes down and I said I can see a Becky Lynch Jessica Carr match either at WrestleMania or they drag it out to SummerSlam.
I could see that too. I mean, it's actually fairly it was fairly entertaining. Um, and Jessica Carr herself has grown so much as a referee.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
yeah,
She when she started refereeing, you could tell that she was holding back. There was some timidness there. You know, she might not have been completely comfortable all the time, but she has absolutely grown into it and is like an actual presence. You know, I could see her being like the female Charles Robinson.
yeah, yeah. She's she's definitely one of the top female referees within the company and probably in all of professional wrestling. But the thing is that she's also a really good wrestler too. I mean,
Mhm.
she was a mass wrestler on Evolve.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
she can go. So if they decided they want to pull the trigger on a Becky Lynch versus Jessica Carr match, absolutely. Sign me up for that. But AJ winning, as we talked about, didn't surprise me because I figured they wanted that moment in Chicago. They they wanted to have Punk and AJ embrace you know, with their respective titles. But it just be interesting to see where they go from here. Because I think there is a Saturday night's main event before WrestleMania. I could be wrong,
Yeah,
but I think there is. Um, we just have to see where it goes. But I could definitely see that there a definite rematch at WrestleMania. I don't see why AJ would do it because my argument to her would be I made you tap 3 times already.
yeah, that's true. And there is the so I don't think it'll happen at Saturday night's main event. What I think is going to happen, because there's the gauntlet match next
Yes.
Monday.
Yep.
So I think if there is a Saturday night's main event, that will happen
Person.
there,
Okay.
and then Becky comes out, you know, gets involved somehow, setting up what you were saying beforehand, the inimitable triple threat. And I believe Natty is in that gauntlet match.
We have to see. Yeah, I mean, we have to see where that goes. I'm looking forward to it. I've I've kind of changed my tone on how I feel about certain things with WrestleMania right now. So I'm actually looking forward to it, and that's what I wanted from the chamber. Get me excited, like you know what I'm saying. Like, get me excited to want to watch your product. So
Uh, excuse me. Yeah, it's like you said. I think the whole show was a good card. That those first two matches in particular were more fun, in my opinion. Where when once we get to the second half, I think the last two was uh more beef to it.
yeah, and actually great transition. The Punk Finn Balor match. As a person who I'm a lot older than you, Austin, who grew up with the 90s Bulls, and you have the Alan Parsons Project playing, the song Serious with, in that building. And what got me was that it was Ray Clay. And I'm sitting and dude, I'm like The Rock right now. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? So seeing that and having Ray Clay announce him like all from Chicago, because there's not many people who get announced from Chicago, you know, in that building with that song.
The last
And
one to make it mean something was Derrick Rose.
right, with that song. So to have that great touch, and then the match itself was really good. I'm actually kind of shocked that we didn't see any interference. I actually am happy with that. That we didn't see any interference from the Judgment Day at all. It worked out perfect. Uh, Good match. Good match. Between Punk and Balor.
Oh, it was an excellent match. I mean, they're both pros. They're both veterans. They both know what they're doing. And again, like you were saying, Punk coming out to that, walking through the backstage while that's going, then stopping, waiting, then Cult of Personality hit. That building was loud. I will say that building was loud, but it's still it still was not as loud as his return at Survivor Series in 23.
Oh no, that's just because that came out of nowhere. You you
Again,
can you can make the argument that's probably one of the greatest returns in pro wrestling history.
again, very biased. I was at that show. I was one row from the barricade. That's biased to me. I just like to say it because I had a couple buddies that went to the show and they were like, yeah, it was loud. It was super loud. It felt like the building was shaking. I was like, Yeah, when he came back, it didn't feel like the building was shaking. It was shaking.
Right.
But like I said, that's just me. That's just me punking on my friends. But
No.
I mean, when you get two pros like that inside a ring, just given 20 minutes, they're gonna make magic.
Yeah, and the main thing is that, you knew Finn Balor can go. I hope that there's a renewed, it seems like there is a renewed interest within Finn Balor. He's got his old theme music back. I'm just hoping that, you know, as we move forward and he gets further away from the Judgment Day, that, we'll be able to see him have many more great matches, but also, hell, I would like to see the Demon come back at some point.
He will. He will. I can almost guarantee it. Um, but I think the only thing with this is I think it may have officially ended Finn Balor's chance to win another world title.
Oh, I agree with it. I think if anything, you're probably going to see Finn Balor. Um, there probably will be maybe a fatal four-way for the IC strap at WrestleMania. You know, you can include Finn in there. Maybe include Finn, JD, Dom, and Penta. If that's something that you want to do, you can make it a ladder match if you want something fun. You could do it that way if you choose to do so. So now we get to the men's chamber. Your thoughts?
So one, Javon Evans is a spider monkey. That man can get anywhere he wants and jump off of anything and make it look incredible.
Yeah, I actually watched something online today where he did like two Cody Cutters in a row, where he jumped off, Cody Cutter somebody, and then he did it again. Like he's very athletic. Uh, I think I saw a report that, they want him to tone it down a little bit. Um, work work harder. I'm sorry,
Smarter.
work smarter, not harder. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about later. Um, but overall, I enjoyed the men's chamber as well. Um, Trick Williams, that dude's a stud. Um, it's funny when I look at Trick Williams, I see the aura of The Rock, but I see the moves and the mannerisms of Booker T.
Yeah, yeah, kind of.
Because when he
I
comes, because when he comes out, he has this aura about him, and then he moves like Booker T. You know what I'm saying? So for me, you know, I know I saw something that they were saying that they want Trick Williams to be a babyface. Nah, let Trick Williams be Trick Williams.
he is going to be he's going to end up being a babyface simply because of the crowd reactions.
Oh, absolutely, but you don't have to define him as a babyface.
No, he's not going to be Cody. He's not going to be your white meat babyface.
No, no.
No, he's going to be I think I could see it that he's not going to be a babyface. He's not going to be a heel. I could see it being kind of like The Rock or like Steve Austin where he's kind of like that anti-hero type. He sways.
Yeah,
It depends on who he's against, what he's doing, what he feels like doing. But
yeah, yeah.
dude's
Don't
going to be an absolute star.
don't label him. Don't put him in a box. Just let Trick do what Trick does, which is entertain. He's really good in the ring. Just let him, you know, do what he has to do to get himself over. Don't limit this brother because he's uh he's a he's a great talent.
No, it's not going to happen. But if I were to make one wish for WrestleMania, I want Booker T to commentate Trick Williams match because when when Trick was on in NXT, especially once he got solo and he started to get big, I have never been more entertained than listening to Booker T talk about Trick Williams or
Yeah,
when he's coming out and he's with the people. Whoop that trick. What?
yeah, no,
It,
absolutely, absolutely. And I think the main thing with Trick is that it's very organic in terms of how he's getting over, and and he's also part of that NXT 2.0 reboot where everybody thought was horrible. And just think about how many stars of now are flourishing because of that.
you can go down the list. I mean, Tiffany, Braun, him, Carmelo.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, wasn't Solo in that group as well?
he was. You got Grayson Waller was in that group. Um, there's actually quite a bit. Yeah, there's actually quite a bit. Freaking Julia was a part of it.
Yeah,
It it's it's actually really funny because NXT 2.0 was not a great wrestling program, but it was entertaining because it was stupid.
yeah, yeah. And plus the fact that I mean, you had a lot of fans that were not really thrilled with it because it wasn't a black and gold brand. It wasn't what they were used to with, Ciampa, Gargano, and then Adam Cole. What was his stable? Um,
Uh, Undisputed Era,
yeah, you know, and then with Keith Lee and Karrion Cross and stuff like that. So
Dominic Dijakovic.
yeah,
Yeah.
still one of the best NXT matches I've ever seen was between him and Keith Lee.
Oh, because it was an absolute hoss fight, but they were both athletic as shit.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
was it was as Big E coined it, big meaty men slapping meat, but they're also athletic as shit. So you're seeing like the high flying stuff. You're seeing these 300+ pound men doing moonsaults and going through the ropes on a suicide dive. It was incredible.
Yeah, no, and no, and that's what made that black and gold brand fun. And then unfortunately, things happen. NXT 2.0 came about, and then you know they got rebranded again, and then you just have those you know those uh, those wrestlers that we talked about earlier getting getting more time, getting seasoned, and just being able to, and now you see the fruits of the labor. Trick Williams is going to be a world champion within the next couple of years.
Probably. I I do say that probably.
Yeah,
I don't foresee it happening this year,
no,
but next year, maybe.
no. Actually, let him wrestle, Mello at for the U.S. Championship. That will probably be one of the matches of the night, whatever day that they choose to have that match on.
Oh, that would be incredible.
Yeah, I would do that. Um, L.A. Knight. I don't think this dude is ever going to win a championship, or at least a world title, anytime. Because I don't know what they're thinking or what they think about him. I know the fans love him, but I'm not going to sit up here and fault the dude for slipping off the rope. Shit happens.
If you notice, it's also the same rope that Finn slipped during his match too.
So that
It
that
was
was
that
some,
same
it
turnbuckle. There was
was the
something
same.
going on with it.
Yeah. So I'm not going to sit up here and do that and shit happens. Mistakes happen. You're just happy that nobody got hurt. That
Yeah,
he didn't mess up a knee or an ankle because he slipped off the rope. It is
absolutely.
it is what it is. Um, the ending surprised me. I was pleasantly surprised that Randy Orton won. Um, it wasn't on my bingo card. Like if I had to pick, you know, it I thought it was going to be Cody.
We both did.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be Cody, and I wasn't excited for a Drew Cody match again. But seeing Randy in there, um, and him talking about, especially after the show, how he wants to go after 15, like he wants to, because him and he talked about him and Triple H being tied at 14. He wants to get to 15. He wants to beat Flair's record. He wants to get to 18 so he can, you know, 18 and 19 so he can get past John Cena's record. Randy Orton is very underrated, very underrated. Um, and well, he's 45, 40, yeah, 45.
45, I believe. Yeah.
And in my opinion, like one of the most technically sound wrestlers, men or women, in any company, any company.
I mean, one of the biggest things that people will learn from Randy, and which is why people listen to him so much, is longevity. I mean, if it wasn't for what happened to his neck and he was out for the 18, 19 months that he was out, um, he never he went so long without having like a major surgery, major injury that kept him out that long. Because like, yeah, he had his shoulder problems when he was younger, but
Right.
that was even before evolution, really.
Well, just think of it this way too. Just think how much of an ass Randy Orton was backstage, according to reports, and then how much he matured and to be like one of the. I mean, he was basically the chosen one, right? He was the one that the youngest ever world champion defeating Benoit at was it SummerSlam in was that 2004?
It was 2004, but I don't was it SummerSlam?
Yeah, he beat Ben.
Regardless,
Yeah. So, having that and him having uh this era where he's going after being the legend killer, having a great match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania. I will still maintain that I enjoyed his WrestleMania match with Triple H, even though uh, I did I did I thought it was slow, it was methodical, but I also enjoy matches like that.
that's still one of the few things that we will disagree with because, again, it was a good wrestling match, but that's not what it should have been.
No, no, it should have been an all-out brawl.
It should have been, you know, close to like your Attitude Era of main events where it's a no DQ and they're beating the shit out of each other.
Well, I mean, was it if Triple H got DQ'd, he was going to lose the title?
Yeah,
Wasn't that the stipulation? Yeah, see, that's right.
which is why I personally don't like that match.
Right. So, we had Randy Orton winning. We had Drew come out and interfere. And then he hits Drew with the crossroads. Randy pulls the trigger and hits the RKO on Cody, which I personally liked because I felt like Randy needed to go there, and I I need to see a not necessarily a pissed off Randy Orton, but somewhere where he's that legend killer slash dude that just doesn't care.
As he said before, you want to see the guy when he goes to that place.
Yes, yes, and I felt like he went there, and that's why his theme song makes so much sense walking down towards the chamber.
And
Again,
he was
one,
hearing the voices.
yeah, once again, storytelling.
And
not just moves.
and I'm actually really excited because that was a dark horse one for me. I don't think anybody expected Randy to win.
No, that's why you got, a little bit of shock and you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
And it kind of, I wouldn't say it's necessarily that full circle moment because we're still waiting on the match that we really want, that Cody Randy actual feud.
I think we'll get that at WrestleMania.
But you you got to see him finally take advantage of Cody. He's had the opportunity to do it before. There was the multiple different, images, clips where he kind of eyeing him when he had the championship, you know. Uh could have put him down at King of the Ring, decided against it, just to be be a good person. Eventually he just said, "No, I want this. I want to go to WrestleMania. I want to fight for a title. So I'm going to take advantage of it."
Yeah,
It was oddly similar to Cena winning the Chamber last year, where as soon as Rollins hit that curb stomp on Punk, immediately Cena came up into the STF.
yep, yep,
It it was I need to take advantage of it, and I will, because that's what I need to do.
yep,
And I thought it was awesome.
yeah. So Randy wins, sets up his WrestleMania match with whomever the champion is going to be. And then we got some news at the end of the night where Drew is all pissed off. Nick Aldis is pissed off because Drew is interfering again. And then all of a sudden, Nick Aldis just goes, "Yeah, you're going to wrestle Cody for the championship." And for me, I want Cody to win just so we can get that one-on-one. There's a part of me that sits up here and think that we're gonna get some shenanigans and maybe Jacob Fatu interferes, and then that um, one-on-one turns into a multi-man match, which I don't want to see. I'd rather have the one-on-one.
I would prefer to have the one-on-one too. The only time I think the multi-man works in a world title match at WrestleMania is if there's a lot of story built into it, which is why they typically don't do multi-man world title matches at Mania. So, I mean, it, there is a story to be told, but it's not a biting story. It's not a gripping story.
No, I mean you still have who who took out Jacob Fatu. You still have that story out there. Um, One of the things that I thought about was, you have Randy versus Cody, um, then maybe some sort of match between Sammy, Jacob, and Drew. Maybe do a triple threat that way if you wanted to, but overall, I do want to see Randy versus Cody. That's the match. That's the match, and um, it's funny because you can make the argument that just because of the story itself, that Orton versus Cody could be the main event of night two, even though it won't. It'll still be Punk and Roman, but you can make the argument that Orton and Cody could be the main event of WrestleMania because of the story.
I mean, yeah, you could make that argument, but I don't think it, like you said, it's not going to happen, but the argument could be made. But I want, if that's what we end up getting, I want, it's also not going to happen right now because he is still popular enough. I want that inevitable Cody Rhodes heel turn.
Yeah,
I want to see a heel Cody going up against a face Randy.
yeah.
I think that's the match that I want.
I mean,
And
the good news is that we still got 6, 7 weeks before WrestleMania. I don't think they'll turn Cody heel. I think you'll get a little bit more edgier Cody and a more edgier Randy. But if that's the route that they want to go, yes, sign me into.
I'll still be into it. I'll still
Yeah.
be into it.
So we also got a return. Seth Rollins.
Well, before the return, we had the fake out, which got everybody pissed off.
Yeah. Well, they did that, on SmackDown. Well, I'm sorry, was it on Raw? Where it was somebody else,
Well,
and then
they had it at the chamber.
yeah,
They had it at the
it,
chamber too.
right. So, um, because they brought out security, took that guy out, and then another guy walked up in all black in a mask. You know, gave a kick to Logan Paul, gave him a curb stomp, and lo and behold, Seth Rollins. Good to see Seth back. Good to see Seth back. But where does this leave him at WrestleMania?
Probably probably a Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, Paul Heyman on a pole match.
Or how about this? He took out Heyman. We don't know the status of Braun Breaker. Do we
Oh, I
get
see.
do we get Seth and Brock again? No, not
No,
interested.
I no. There, there's one again. We've had this conversation. There's one person who I want to see with Brock at Mania.
Oh well, yeah, but I mean, storyline wise,
Storyline wise, it would make sense. It would be
uh,
funny.
do we get um, a six-man tag between the Usos and Seth Rollins versus if Braun Breaker is back, Braun, um, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory?
I think you could see that, but the only problem with that is I still think you could have the will they won't they with Rollins and the Usos.
Sure.
The can they coexist? Which
Well, I mean that would be a good that's a good one to ask because they use it all the time.
yeah, they use the will they coexist so often. I just don't know if that's necessarily the route. But I think if Braun Breaker is back in a limited capacity, you could see something like that.
Well, yeah, I mean if he's back at as you stated, you know Austin Theory and Logan Paul could just do the main parts of the match, and all you need to have Braun there for is for high spot, not high spots, but major spots, spear, something like that.
Yeah,
Something that can protect them.
yeah, and I still think it's still pivoted where we were talking beforehand where we thought that it could be like a Braun Breaker Adam Pierce match at Mania. I think they're slowly trying to pivot that to be Logan Paul versus Adam Pierce.
Yeah, it's possible.
Um,
Actually, speaking of general managers getting in matches, could you see a Drew versus Nick Aldis match?
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Because again, you don't see it because he's in a suit, but dude's a hoss too.
Yeah, Nick Aldis is good.
Yeah,
Good.
Magnus.
Yeah,
It I mean, again, you'll just get these two hosses. It
absolutely.
would be so much fun. It would
Yeah.
be so much fun.
So we move on to Monday Night Raw. We got Heyman being taken out, LA Knight driving the driving the ambulance. Okay, that's fine. And maybe that's how we'll get Brock versus LA Knight. Whatever. Whatever. Um, very good match between Penta and um and Dom. Really enjoyed that match. Um, Gunther had had an awesome match as well against Dragon Lee. I do think we're going to get Gunther versus Ray at WrestleMania.
Okay, I can see that. Oh no. Oh no.
I don't know if it'll be career match, but you know,
It won't be, I don't think it'll be a career match because I think they're still saving that for one person.
yeah, saving it for Dom.
Yep. They're
Yeah,
saving it for Dom.
yep,
It's going to be like what they said years ago, a mask versus hair match or something to that nature.
yeah, because you saw that they didn't necessarily edit out the fact that Dragon Lee lost his match, his mask, during the match.
Yeah.
So you can do that. Um, and that's a huge deal. I mean, we've seen Rey Mysterio without a mask. Probably some of the younger people haven't seen it, but back in the day in WCW when he was with um, oh, I can't remember the
I'm blanking too.
uh, the um, the stable with WCW, like Billy Kidman. I want to say it's not the Rascals, but
I
um,
almost said the Radicals, but it's not the Radicals.
no,
It was, oh my God. It was a drawn out name. It was a little bit of a drawn out name. It'll come to me. It'll come to me.
yeah,
But yeah, he was out. He was without a mask, and he even stated it before. He hated it. He hated not being in a mask.
the Filthy Animals
There it is.
with Eddie Guerrero, Conan, and Billy Kidman.
Yeah, I remember Conan from that very specifically.
Yep.
Um, but yes, the Dragon League Gunther match. I I always love the big guy versus little guy match too.
Oh yeah.
I love wrestling. Um, and with the big guy being someone like Gunther, who isn't necessarily going to be the most intimidating because he's going to throw you all over the place and he's going to slam you everywhere. No, he's just going to hit you hard, and it's going to hurt
Yeah.
a lot more because you're smaller than him.
Yeah.
Um, Penta and Dom. I mean, you got two two wrestlers going luchador style in a way where Dom's is kind of a mixture of like the WWE style and the lucha style. And then you got Penta, who is that luchador right now. Um, very, very surprised at the ending. Very surprised that they actually let him win. I thought my expectations was after this was going to happen, it was going to be the inevitable split up of like that Finn from the Judgment Day, and then it was going to be Finn and Dom for the IC title at Mania,
Yeah.
like we had discussed. But it's really cool. Penta's going to have a real fun run with it. Um, I could see it being some Judgment Day shenanigans, which will inevitably lead to the reformation of the Lucha Bros with him and his younger brother Ray
Ray
Phoenix.
Phoenix. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Overall, I thought Raw was a pretty good show. Um, One of the things that I do want to discuss as we go to the tail end of this show is the promo battle between Roman and Punk. Um, Things were said. um, Let me say this: when Punk made the line, actually, both of them made valid points, had very good, very good, very good back and forth. I will actually give the edge to Punk in this one, just because of the line when he said, "I'm going to bury you next to your father." Um, I'm sorry, but if I'm Roman, and I know I mentioned that I don't want these two touching at all before WrestleMania, but if let's say you and I, not saying this would happen, but let's say you and I are having a contentious back and forth, argument or whatever, and you bring my parents into this, yeah, I might put my foot in your ass.
That's on site.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, th and I understand that when Roman heard it, he was kind of like this motherfucker just bring up my dad.
Perfect selling of it. I thought it was absolutely perfect because it was the shock. Did he actually say that? And then
Like,
by the
really?
time Punk was out of the ring is when the anger hit.
So that there's parts of me that actually think it that it wasn't agreed upon because when Punk said it, he was out of the ring in like 1 second. So it kind of reminded me when Tiffany Stratton did the thing with Charlotte, and Tiffany, as she was saying it, was walking out the ring.
Yeah.
So it kind of reminded me of that. But I thought both of them played their part. Um, one of the things that I want to see happen now is that I do want to see Roman get his receipt for that. And I don't necessarily know if I want him to bring up his father because that's already been done by Jericho. Because, Roman can always say, yeah, but at least my father was around, if you want to do that. Does he bring up Larry? I actually thought at one point what Roman should do is, actually, I got two thoughts about that, about what Roman should do. Number one, whenever Punk is doing a promo, Roman comes out and he walks down to the ring with a dog that looks just like Larry.
Oh, geez. Okay. Um, I think you do that. I think you could do that once, but I don't think it would be going down to the ring. It would just be like walking onto the ramp. Have Punk in the ring and then just a walk onto the ramp.
Yeah.
He doesn't
No,
even have to say anything.
no, you can just do it. Have the dog right here, pet it, and walk away.
Mhm.
My second option was, and we saw this 2 years ago. CM Punk is scheduled for 6 Monday Night Raws up, all the Raws up until WrestleMania. I think Roman is scheduled for maybe three or four. One of those Raws, Roman is a surprise. Roman walks to the ring, cool, calm, and collected, kind of similar to what Rock did with Cody. Goes up to Punk, whispers into his ears, and says, "I'm gonna make you bleed." The difference with that is that we've seen Punk bleed before. Drew had him do it, but we didn't see Drew actually make Punk bleed. It was the aftermath that we saw. I will legit have a situation where Roman just beats the dog shit out of out of Punk. Like, yeah, you want to bring my family into this? Now this is personal. Now I'm gonna make you bleed.
Okay. Yeah. I I would love
You talk about my blood, I'm gonna make you spill yours.
I would love to see something like that. Hell, I know Roman doesn't have any if see, but that would be making him like kind of like treating him as if he's going to be a monster heel again, which Roman can't be at this point. My other
No,
thought was
no, no. People will understand.
no, not that. I had a thought.
Okay.
I had another thought. He could make a passive aggressive, he could say something passive aggressive to Punk about say like AJ Lee.
Yeah.
You know,
But
it,
I wouldn't even bring AJ into this. I would do either Larry, his father, or make Punk bleed. I would do one of those three.
It- yeah, my my only thought with that, it like I said, the passive aggressive, it would just be the one time easy comment, you know, move on. Not necessarily bring her into the story, not make her a crucial part of it. It's just kind of like a in passing.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would be the right way to go about it because there wouldn't be anything else in that. Like I said, that was just kind of a thought that popped up and kind of went,
No,
no, that wouldn't work.
no. I
Um,
mean, but I will say that there are two back and forths definitely have me excited for WrestleMania, right? And you, you're not going to get a wrestling match. You're going to get a fight. You're going to get a fight, and that's the story. So, which leads me to my question and the thing that I've been thinking about all day long based off of conversations that I've had with people. And the only reason why is because I've been seeing here. You think Jay Uso is hated by the internet community? There
in
is
a way,
one
yeah.
there is one wrestler who's probably hated more.
Lay it on me.
It's your current women's WWE champion.
Jade?
Yes. If you read message boards, there are people that can't stand her. The people that I've talked to within my circle of friends don't like her, say that she can't wrestle. And I'm just kind of like, and here's the question: what does this mean that you can't wrestle? Like what is the definition of you can wrestle? Like, are we looking at through the eyes of Bret Hart? Are we looking at through the eyes of Dean Malenko and his 1,000 moves and Jericho has 1,001 moves? How are we determine who can wrestle or not?
I mean,
That drives me insane.
realistically, that is the way that I see it is it's all uh perspective
Because
and like
I've had that same conversation regarding Nia Jax. Like, oh, she can't wrestle. Well, she doesn't have to quote unquote wrestle.
it's all about the different styles and stuff too. Nowadays in modern times, I think it all has to do with like where wrestling is today. In modern times, if you're not the strongest, the most athletic, and you know, a great grappler, if you can't do the if you can't do all of it, you're not considered a good wrestler. You know, because like that's an argument that goes back forever. I mean, that's been talked about forever. You know, was was Goldberg a good wrestler? No, but he was a great wrestler, if that makes sense.
Well,
Because his shtick wasn't, you're not going to see an hour long match at the Tokyo Dome, Bill Goldberg.
no,
You're going to
it's
see 5 minutes of intense physical nature. Someone like Jade Cargill is kind of on that same trajectory where
well,
you're not.
that was the comparisons that I saw up on message boards. My thing is that this is where I give AEW credit. They booked her right. They really did. I don't think the WWE has booked her to where she showed the dominance that that she has because she's a physical specimen. Because she is, right? So when I hear that she can't wrestle, tell me tell me why she can't. Can she do a headlock?
Yes,
You can tell a great story with a headlock. Hell, Randy Orton does it every single time he wrestles.
wrestled,
Yeah.
wrestled.
Yeah, seriously. One of the greatest of all time, and Hulk Hogan. You think in the WWF he wrestled? No. What was it all about? Emotion.
Stance,
You know,
the gravity,
yes.
the spectacle.
Entrance, tear the shirt, pose, big boot, leg drop. Oh, I'm sorry, hulking up in
Hulk
between
up.
that, hulking up in between that. So when I hear that, certain people can't wrestle, explain to me what that means. Because just like you said, it's perspective. Not everybody is going to be technical like Bret Hart. As great as The Rock was, you think he was technically sound? I mean, he did some things, he did some basic things well, but are you going to have Rocket going up, wrestling Chris Benoit? I mean, they did, but you know, who's the better wrestler? Benoit.
Oh, and then look at somebody like a Steve Austin, who was very technically sound, especially in his early WCW days and his ringmaster days. But after he broke his neck, he had to completely change his style. The raps are based on style, which is why there are so many different companies and stuff and so many people doing so many different things, is because wrestling isn't considered one specific thing. There's a multitude of different styles.
Yes. Why do you think AEW is so popular right now? Or what?
Because
Be, because they do a bunch of flippity doos, and people like that.
and why did it get stale for so long?
Right.
Because that's all they did.
Right.
It's like, yeah, they had a great match, but who cares?
Like where's the story within the match? That's part of the reason uh, why Roman Reigns is one of the best today. Roman Reigns shoots a promo in a match. His match is a promo.
It's slow, it's methodical, and it picks up when it needs to.
Yeah. So you don't have to be once again Dean Malenko with a thousand holds. You don't. You don't. Can can you sell? Can you register? Can you elicit emotion when it's time to elicit emotion from the crowd?
At the end of the day, what do all these wrestlers talk about? What do they want? They want to hear something.
Yeah,
As long as they're hearing the people, they're doing their job.
right. So
Uh,
right. So do I think Jade Cargill is the greatest wrestler or in-ring performer of all time? No, I do not. But do I think she sucks? No. Do I think she still needs work? Absolutely. Absolutely.
and you also can't even discredit the fact that when you watch her first couple of matches in the WWE compared to today, that she has gotten a lot more comfortable with doing this style.
Right.
She has looked a lot better. She has moved a lot more crisp. She's gotten better.
Yeah. Look, the match she had with Jordan Grace was good. You know, when the match that she had, I thought with Tiffany at SummerSlam, I thought was pretty good. I I I would like to know what lens people are looking at because I think people are conflating wrestling with wrestling holds with storytelling or don't know the difference between the two.
I just think it's people's perception of what they want from her,
Sure.
and it's not what they want.
Look, I have a buddy that told me that Jay Cargill sucks. He'd rather watch Nia Jax, but his favorite wrestler is Kurt Angle. Not everybody's going to be Kurt Angle.
And see, you're picking one of the all-time greats who could do literally everything, and
Or
he showed that he could do everything. You know, all the different ways that he wrestled, technically sound. Throw in the amateur holds. Um, he could brawl. He could use weapons. He could do all of it, and also one of the funniest wrestlers you've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the complete package. You can't necessarily compare somebody like that to really hardly anybody else.
All right. Here, I'll give you another example. Brock. Brock was the guy that could do pretty much anything and everything. Shooting star press, even though he missed, but he can do it. But now, what do you get from a Brock match?
German, maybe a couple of knees, a couple more Germans, F5, 1, 2, 3.
Right. But it's all about storytelling with Brock.
With Brock Lesnar, it's not the inevitable clash, the one-on-one clash. It's can you survive, Lesnar?
Yes. Yeah.
That's his storytelling.
Yeah.
And that's
So
and that, that's honestly something that they kind of need to do for Jade, because if they did Can You Survive Jade, I think that would make it look a lot better.
see that I agree with. That's why I said that creative has kind of failed her. So I know she's wrestling Rhea. I'm I don't think they're gonna take the title off her, off of Jade. And mostly why I think that is because who's gonna be your top woman on on Raw? Netflix is paying a bunch of money.
Regardless if she has the title or not, it's still going to be Rhea.
Oh no, no, I'm right. I'm just saying like if Rhea beats Jade, Rhea's going to SmackDown. Netflix ain't having that.
Oh, I see what you're saying now. Okay, I apologize. I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying now. She would have to go to SmackDown, and
Yeah,
no, that's not happening.
that's not happening. No. Rhea Rhea doesn't need the title. And I love Rhea Ripley. Rhea doesn't need the title.
I think she should stay away from it for the rest of the year too.
She doesn't need it.
Personally,
She doesn't need it. She's in this match to put over Jade
for star power.
for star power. For star power.
And again, I'll keep saying it. Just that very first visual of them standing toe to toe, face to face.
Yes. That that's your moment right there. That's your moment.
It's it all makes sense in theory, like with why they did it like that. But going back to it, like uh, Jade Cargill isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea. She's just not.
Oh,
But
I have my theories on that too.
oh, but I mean, what what she may lack in, say, like in-ring experience and work, she makes up for in star power and presence. Because like some of these other wrestlers that we've talked about, like she has a presence about her. She seems and is made for big time. And you just have to let her do her thing, instead of trying to make her do your thing. As long as you keep it close to that, I think you can have an incredible superstar.
Yeah, absolutely. 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 But I had to pose that question because it's been on my mind, since last night because I'm just kind of like I don't understand. I do think that part of this is some undertones
Mm, some
in terms of
undertones.
with Jade, but that's just my own personal opinion.
I I don't know. I got nothing. I don't know.
But that's just me.
Very well could be, but I'm not sure. All I know is is Jade herself has that superstar presence about her. And if you let her do her thing, she'll show you why.
No, all you got to do is just let her dominate, and and she'll be all right. But this whole thing of she can't wrestle, once again, I disagree. I disagree. I've seen what she can do. AEW, she was fine. She's done some good stuff here. I think people are looking through the lenses of. I think people are still living in the Attitude Era.
And the Attitude Era was terrible for wrestling. It was brawling. It wasn't actually wrestling. Like if that's how people wanted to pose that question, the Attitude Era was punches and kicks and weapon shots.
Yeah, and chop off your
Um,
pee.
or Val,
Oh, well, he's got his own issues now. Never mind. I won't go there.
but um, it, I had a point. It's gone. You had to bring up Kai and Tai, and it threw me off. Um, no, you have her. Oh, here it is. You have her dominate. You have her show some peril of, oh, she may not win it before you have the inevitable. It's Look, when it comes down to it, I think it's going to be an incredible match and it's going to be an incredible spectacle.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. But you know, like I said, I'm a different kind of fan. I look at wrestling for what it is. There's more than one way to wrestle. But that's just me.
And everybody has their favorites.
Right.
Oh, I remember my question. Somebody poses the question or says she can't wrestle, she can't wrestle, she can't do this, she can't do that. I offer you to show me. You show me how to do it then.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you know what wrestling is, you show me what it is.
I agree.
You can't
I
shut up. I
right.
I don't want to
I
hear that.
I agree. I agree. Got anything else, buddy?
Uh, no, Chamber was a good show. Raw was a good show. Uh, the Bulls lost tonight.
Tanking value. Yeah.
Um, I think we're pretty good and covered.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the road to WrestleMania. It's actually starting to shape up, which is, in my opinion, a little late. You should have started planting a little more seeds before this.
I honestly think, and let's be real about this, they've had some major injuries, then they had to pivot.
That's also true. That's also
So
true. So
so
okay, I
I
I can take that back.
I as much as I want to complain, you know, yeah, it's they've had some major injuries.
That's the problem with having a major show like a WrestleMania. Is if some untimely injuries happen, people are going to be disappointed with the build.
Well, I mean, plus, when you have 12 PLEs, 52 Raws, 52 SmackDowns, you know, it, you're someone's bound to get hurt.
And that inevitably. But like you said earlier with the Chamber and Raw, I think it was a great setup weekend.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
even
and
Even
and
SmackDown.
you said you got SmackDown coming up with the the WWE Championship match, and I'm anxious to see how that goes along with um, the confrontation between Rhea and Jade. If you've been following their back and forth on social media,
Jade is giving heat to everybody. She doesn't care.
no,
It's been incredible because it was
and,
Rhea, it was Piper Niven.
and you know what's funny about that? Th this is why I said there's some undertones to this. You got a black woman giving shit to everybody because what's her tagline? She's that bitch.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And
And,
and
and, and
she holds all the power.
she ain't afraid of nobody.
Not in the slightest. It's incredible. It's
So,
honestly incredible that the social media back and forth between them is gonna hype their match and it's gonna be
and
hysterical.
and that's what it is. It's all hype. Yes, some of the stuff, probably is a little bit more real, but some of the stuff within social media, don't take it with a grain of salt. You'll probably see it on the reel, which, by the way, I haven't watched season two yet. Probably won't watch season two.
I will because it's fun. I still enjoy it. But
I had a conversation with somebody. I was like, yeah, I don't want to know how the sausage made, which is why I actually stop. Oh yeah, another thing, wrestling fans, let's try not to subscribe to all the dirt sheets. I know it's hard because we all want to be in the know. We treat pro wrestling like we do every other major sport. You know, let's have some surprises.
you have to be able to suspend your disbelief a little bit.
Yeah, no, you do. So, got anything else?
I'm set, man.
All right, cool. Well, thank you all for hopefully you all tune in. Like and subscribe because I thought we were doing live. We're not doing live. We can do live if we choose to do so. Like and subscribe to the podcast. Tell your friends. And yeah, until we meet again, peace out.
See ya.